everybody, in this video we are going to start graphing linear equations. So a review from last time, we like to graph equations in the form y equals mx plus b, which is slope-intercept form. The m stands for the slope, which is rise over run, and the b value stands for my y-intercept. Today I like to think of the b value as the beginning because we are always going to start graphing a line using the b value on that y-axis. So there's kind of your reminders. Okay, here we go. We have number one, y equals 7 over 2x minus 2. Again, that is our b value, -2. That's our beginning. So we're going to go to the y-axis here, and we're going to go to -2 and put a point. The 7 over 2 is your slope, so remember that's rise over run. We're going to go up 7, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, to the right 2, put a point, and we are going to connect our dots, maybe better than I do. There's our line. All right, next one, let's try again. So we are going to, again, start with our b value, 3. This is positive, it's going on the y-axis, so I'm counting up to 3, putting a point. Now, my slope is -6. We always need to make it into a fraction, so I can do rise over run. I'm rising in a negative direction, which means I'm going down. So I'm going to count down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, to the right, 1, and put a point. Connect your points, and before you go on to the next question, I want you guys to think about this. It is a negative slope, so it should be a downhill line. You'll know you did it wrong if you have an uphill line. So that's a really nice check before you go on to your next question. Negative slope, downhill line. Okay, on to the next one, this way. All right, we are missing something here. Usually it's y equals mx plus b. We are missing this guy right here. So technically we could rewrite this and we could say y equals, if there's no x's, I'm going to say 0x minus my 5. And we need to think back to the slope of a 0. So remember last video we talked about on the treadmill when you have a slope of 0? That's really what we're doing here. We're going to have a flat line. Your other thing to think about is we are starting with our b value. Remember, that's our starting spot at -5. And it's literally telling us all of the y values or the heights are at -5. If we draw a flat line here at -5, every single height is -5. So either way you think about it works, but if you want to just rewrite it as 0x, and remember, oh yeah, Miss Kish says 0 is a treadmill, so I should have a flat line, you can totally do that. All right, on to my next one. We have y equals 6 over 5x plus 1. Again, our starting is our b, which is our y-intercept at +1. Slope is rise over run. I'm counting up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm off the graph, but that's okay. Counting to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even if I'm off the graph, I still like to put my point there because now I'm going to have to find some points on the graph. If you went up and to the right to get points, we can do exactly the opposite to get more points. We can go down and to the left to continue our line. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right. Why I like to have that point up there is if I did it wrong and I had a point over here, I'd be like, oops, that went the wrong way. So whatever direction you go, you can always go the opposite to get more points to fill out that line. Okay, let's keep going on to the next page. Oh, sorry guys. Okay, oh my goodness. Okay, this one, we have to think about what we're missing. Usually it's in the form y equals mx plus b. We're missing that b value, so I'm going to rewrite this as +0. And I'm like, oh, well that's easy because that's just telling me to start at 0. Sometimes we call it the origin. We're going to start right in the middle. Then we can do my slope, which is rise over run. I'm going up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To the right 3. 1, 2, 3. Put a point. Again, if I went up and to the right, The opposite would be down and to the left, so we could do that too to get more points. I'm going to count down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To the left, 3. And I could put another point and connect my dots. All right, last graphing one. Okay, this one is completely different. It doesn't have y equals, it has x equals. What I want you guys to do is I want you to think about x. This is your x line. X goes left and right. If they're telling us that I'm not moving left or right any, I am going to have a line that is up and down, and it goes through the point or x value 0. When it's not in the form y equals mx plus b, remember this is a undefined slope. So here you're going to have an up and down line at whatever number. It happens to say 0 here, so that's why we put it at 0. If, for example, they said x is equal to 5, you would go over to 5, put your point, and draw your up and down line. So anytime it says x equals, go to the x value, up and down line. Okay, switching gears, now we are going to be given a line. We're going to find the slope, the x-intercept, and the y-intercept. Okay, so remember, in order to find the slope, we need 2 perfect points. I'm going to label this guy here and this guy here. I'm going to draw my triangle and do rise over run. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up. 1, 2, 3 over. 6 over 3 will simplify to 2. So there's my slope. That checks out because it is a positive uphill line. Next, I need my x-intercept. Remember, guys, this is your x-axis. Where does the graph cross that line? It crosses right here. We always want to write it as a point when it says the x-intercept. So remember, we write x comma y, our point. Our x is at -3. Our height is not up and down any, so that's going to be 3. I know sometimes the x and the y-intercept, you're like, where does the 0 go? The letter or the variable will tell you where the number needs to go. So the x is -3, the other one is 0. So for our y-intercept, we're going to look to see where it crosses the y-axis. Well, looking up and down this line, our graph crosses it here. The height of that point is 6, but we want to write it as a point. Remember, x comma y. X means we are not moving to the left or right any, so we write a 0, then we write our 6. Again, the variable will tell you where the number needs to go. Okay, on to our next one. Okay, I am going to write negative on top of this slope because I do not want to forget this is a negative line, so I should have a negative slope. We're going to pick 2 perfect points. So I see a point here and a point here. I'm going to do my triangle, rising 1, so that's a -1 because I went down. To the right, 1, 2, 3. My slope here is -1/3. My x-intercept, here's my x. It crosses it right here. That as a point is -9, 0. -9, 0. Again, the x tells me where the number goes. My y-intercept is down here. The point is at -3. Remember, we need our x first, so we went over 0 and down 3. Your variable tells you where the number needs to go. Okay, we are almost done, you guys. We are lastly going to write each equation in slope-intercept form and then graph it. So they gave us an equation, but it's not in the right form yet. Remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. It is definitely not there yet, so we need to solve to get y by itself here. So here's our tricks that we like to use. We put a box around y. We draw our line from our equal sign. Everything touching y cannot be moved until the other stuff is moved to the other side. 2 x's are on the left side. I want to take the whole 2 x's. I'm not splitting them up. So I'm going to minus 2 x's from the left. If I subtract them on the left of the line, I have to subtract them on the right. I'm going to bring down my minus 5y. Don't forget about that minus. I cannot combine a number and a number with an x, so I'm going to leave them separate. I'm going to write negative 2x. It's a positive 10, so plus 10. Lastly, now I want to split the negative 5 and the y. Right now they're touching, so they are multiplying. The opposite of multiply is divide, so I'm dividing by negative 5. On the right side, everything is divided by negative 5. So you can either do this, but I like to remind myself, and I'm going to divide each term by negative 5. The only thing we can do with the negative 2 over negative 5 is simplify out the negatives. 2 negatives when I divide make a positive, so that's 2 over 5x. 10 divided by negative 5 is negative 2. Bring down your y equals. That looks much better to graph. We can go ahead and start with our b value, negative 2, on our graph. Put it on the y-axis. Our slope is 2 over 5, so I'm going to rise 2, go to the right 5, put a point. I probably need some more points, so remember I went up 2 to the right 5. I'm going to do the opposite and go down 2 to the left 5. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, put a point. If it is in line with your point that's already there, that's how you know you did it right. All right, last one, y'all. Okay, we are going to solve for y. Put a box around y, your line or down your equal sign. Whatever's touching mine needs to wait. The x, technically that is a 1x, so I'm going to subtract x from both sides. I cannot combine them on the right, so I'm going to rewrite that as negative x plus 14. The 7y's come down. Last step, divide by 7. Everything on the right side gets divided by 7. On the left, they cancel, so I have y equals. Remember, negative x is the same thing as negative 1x, so I'm actually going to write this out as negative 1x. 14 divided by 7 is 2. There is my slope-intercept form, and we can quickly graph this. My 2 is my b, or my beginning, so that's where I'm starting on the y. My slope is negative, so I'm going to go down 1 to the right 7. Down 1 to the right 7. It's a little off my graph, and that's okay. The opposite would be up 1 to the left 7. I'm going to connect my dots, and before I move on, I notice that I have a negative slope, so I should have a downhill line. I do, so I can go on to my next question. All right, there's your overview of how to graph linear equations. If you guys have questions, come find me or ask your teacher. Other than that, I will see y'all in the next one.